Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are talking about template looping, how we can loop around a template. So first of all, let us understand what is template looping. So template looping is basically a way wherein we can iterate over any list so that we can render our data in the component dynamically, and we can use the same styling as we write a for loop in our codes. So it is similar to that. So this is a looping which happens in the HTML in LWC. Okay, so there are two types of template looping. So LWC provides out of the box two methods or two ways how we can loop around a template in a template basically. So one is for each and the another one is iterator. We will go through both of them one by one and we would see a demo as well. Now let us see for each. What is a for each looping mechanism? So for in LWC we have a for each looping mechanism where we can simply iterate and print our data from a list. So for that we need to see there are three items which we need to take care of. So the first one is for each. As we can see over here, it takes the list parameter from the JavaScript, should be a JavaScript identifier, and it is enclosed within curly braces. After that, this is for item. The second thing to note or to pay attention to is for item. So we can use any variable name whatever we want. It should not be a JavaScript, it need not to be a JavaScript variable, and we have to enclose it within double quotes. This is not a JavaScript attribute. And the third and the most important point over here is to note that there is a key. This key should be an unique identifier so that LWC can understand that this particular record has been chosen from the list and it has a unique value. So this is something which we need to pay attention. Key should be unique. So we have taken ID over here. So let us go through the text, whatever is there. This is a simple HTML template iterating way which is used when you simply want to iterate the list by providing a unique key. The key here is unique value to identify the record. Okay. Now let us see with an example. So for an example, first I'll create a array list. So I'll create a contact list. Now I need to create a list of objects. So I'll create one ID over here. Then I'll create a name. Let's say Raj. I need to enclose it into quotes, Raj Kumar. And then I'll give a title. I'll give it as an admin. Okay. So this is our one object. We need to create a list of objects. So we'll copy paste it multiple times. Okay. Now we need to pay attention over here. This ID should be unique. Okay, now 1 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. Okay, so let me take a name. title. I will give it another title, and the last name I'll give it a title again. Okay, so our contact list is ready now. So we have 6 objects in this list, and we will see how we can iterate and utilize these values over here. Okay, now let me create a lightning card. Okay, the title I'll give it as template looping for each. Okay, now I need to create a template and for each. So this should be a curly braces. So I'll use contact list. Let's just check for the exact name, contact list. Now we need a for item. So for item should be in the curly in the double quotes only. So we'll use contact over here. Okay. Now I'll use a div and we'll use a key. So key is a unique identifier over here. My name is contact.name and my title is contact.title. Okay, so our loop is ready. What we have done is we have used a lightning cart, and then in the template for each, using for each, we have passed our list of objects, and we have used a record identifier and a variable to access this list. So key is our record identifier, and I have used the contact name over here and contact title. So we are printing contact name and title. Now let us see on our org how does this behave. Can we see our 6 records which we have created in the list? Okay, so we can see a header over here, template looping for each, and 6 records with the different name and a different title. Rest we have everything as same. So we have looped around 6 records. Okay, so this is our first looping mechanism. We have another looping mechanism in LWC which is called iterator. Now what is different between iterator? Why do we need it? We already have a for each working like looping mechanism. So why do we need any iterator? So iterator also does the similar work like for each, except for a difference that iterator can access the first and the last element of the list, which for each cannot do. For each you'll have to go through each and every element and then utilize it. For iterator, let us suppose that we have some special requirement wherein we want to place some different logic for our first and last item of the list. So we can go through iterator. Iterator gives us a special power to access the first and last element. Okay, so how does it do that? So for iterator, we will use a iterator ID and we'll pass the list name. Then we'll again use a key. Key is very important for both the looping mechanisms. It should be a unique identifier again. And you see, if we are using it.first. So basically, if the record is a first record of the list, we can perform any activity. And to access the values of the object, we need to pass it.value and then dot notation followed by the attribute name. And again we can access the last element of the list. So let us try how does it happen. I'll simply copy this. So it will be iterator, and we do not need for item. So iterator dot value dot id. Now I will access the first element, iterator dot first. So if it is a first element, I'll give it a class as well, CSS class, so that we can identify it. List first. So we'll simply add a border line. Let us use a div, not template. Okay. So if it is a first record of the list, so we will print this is the first record, and similarly for the last record we will print a last, this is a last record. So I just need to modify this if condition, and I'll say this is the last record. Okay. Now to access the name attribute, we need to follow this convention, it.value.name, it.value.title. Okay. And we'll change the header of the lightning card as well. Okay. Now let us see how does this run into the action. Okay. So now I'll refresh my component and let's see what happens. Okay, great. So our template looping iterator has printed. So you can see that this is the first record is printed just above our first record, and this is the last record is printed just above our last record. So we can access the first and the last record in this way, and we can perform some specific logic according to our requirement. So LWC offers both the type of the looping mechanisms. It's just that depending on our requirement, we can use for each or iterator. It is up to us. So that was about today's session. Thank you very much. Please share and subscribe the channel.